Hello there, and today we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, a game changer for RPG fans. Is it the game you've been waiting for? Is it worth your time and money? Is it as good as they say it is? Well, buckle up, because we're about to find out. Now, besides the obvious pros behind this game, such as these, I thought it'd be useful to take a deeper dive into other factors as to why this game is worth it. And we'll be taking a look at some drawbacks to the game as well. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 is an open RPG that brings the world of Dungeons & Dragons to life in a stunning and immersive way. It's developed by Larian Studios, the same studio behind the critically acclaimed Divinity Original Sin 2. The game follows the story of a group of adventurers who are infected by a mind flare parasite that grants them strange powers but also threatens to turn them into monsters. They must find a cure before it's too late, whilst also dealing with conflicts and dangers in the world around them. The game pulls you in with a very simple story introduction that sets up the main premise and goal of the game. However, as you progress through the game, you will discover that there is more to the story than meets the eye. You will encounter various factions, characters and events that will challenge your beliefs, morals and loyalties. You will also have to make choices that will shape your destiny and the fate of the world. The game allows you to choose freely how you want to play and who you want to be, and that creates depth and immersion for your journey. This freedom is a really big factor for the audience. Once you start playing, you can't put this down. Immediately, you're drawn to wonder about the other choices. What happens if you explore one conversational path over the other? Hindsight kicks in, and I'm finding myself already wanting to do multiple playthroughs at the very same time. This agency given to the main character, along with the customization available, allows you to have a dynamic and interactive experience with the world around you. It offers a lot of flexibility for players to create their own adventures, whether solo or with friends online. Now, the game has been out for a couple of weeks and has been in early access for over 2 years. Now, this decision is a massive credit towards the studio. You can tell by the love and care given to the game that the core experience of the player was of paramount importance to the studio. Now let's take a look at some of the other pros and cons. Now, I've already mentioned the customization and the faithful representation of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but for me it's a massive positive. Now, not to repeat what I said earlier, but I'm just going to give a summary. I personally love creating my own characters and experimenting with different builds and combinations. Like I said, hindsight is something that plays quite importantly in the replayability of this game, and being able to express yourself and your style through your character, as well as being able to actually adapt different approaches and wonder what else happens, is one of the biggest positives. For a game this size, it's got a lot of depth. Now, I'm only a measly 40 hours in, but that's only after a few days of actually owning the game. I think that shows you a lot into how easy it is to actually fall into the world. Now, about the world, the graphics, the sounds, the combination of the atmospheric environment and accompanying music is the biggest hook here. The game deploys a cinematic camera that zooms in on important moments and dialogues that act as a nice contrast to the top-down view that you get during the main gameplay. On top of that, the voice acting is superb and expressive, and as I expected for an RPG, this game has a lot of content. With 16 classes, 13 races, dozens of companions, hundreds of quests, and thousands of dialogue options, the game has a lot of items, weapons, armor, spells, and abilities that you can use or collect. Let's move on to the cons. The game at the moment has a few small bugs, and although these are not frequent, they sometimes mean that quests cannot be completed in the ideal manner. I've had one or two quests that are completed without following the scripted objectives. So it would be good to see these fixed within a patch later down the line. One of the other negatives is actually not all the game is fully voiced. And that sounds bizarre, especially because there are thousands of dialogue options. But what was increasingly obvious to me is that actually your main character wasn't voiced that much. Now this is quite weird to me, considering that one of the options that you pick early in the game is actually how you sound. And it seems that there is a little bit of inconsistency between when a main character is meant to speak and when they're not meant to speak. So it feels a little bit mismatched sometimes. The other thing that I've noticed is that in-game events are sometimes too quick to pass. For example, your companion's reactions to some of your dialogue options. In conclusion, Baldur's Gate 3, the game changer you've been waiting for? Yes. Yes it is. Go play it.